Hello everyone. Welcome back to UGC Net English Detailed Lectures. Our topic for the last lecture was the biography of the famous English poet Philip Larkin. Today we are with another topic, that is Transcendentalism. The American literary movement, Transcendentalism. Transcendentalism from 1820s and 1830s. Transcendentalism simply describes the idea that people have knowledge about themselves and the world around them that it transcends or goes beyond what they can see, hear, taste, touch or feel. So this is the basic idea of Transcendentalism. It is a philosophical movement that developed in the late 1820s and 1830s in New England. So Transcendentalism means transcend. That means go beyond what you think you can. So Transcendentalism considers a person who has so many possibilities, a person is with so many possibilities. So they wanted to go beyond the boundaries created by society on a what all basis. So they believe that an individual has immense potential within himself to go beyond. That is why the name Transcendentalism. Transcend means to go beyond. So their idea is to find out the inner potential that is within each and every individual. So Transcendentalism is a philosophical movement, or we can say a literary movement as well, that developed in the late 1820s and 1830s in New England. New England is a region in America. A core belief is in the inherent goodness of people and nature. So they believe in the inherent power, that is the underlying power within every human being. According to them, society and its institutions have corrupted the purity of the individual. So they believe that society has corrupted the individual. Basically, a human being is good and he has all the potential within himself. And if he wants to find out those potentials, he can always do it. That is the belief, to transcend beyond the restrictions of the society. Because according to them, society only pollutes an individual. And they believe people are at their best when truly self-reliant and independent. So when people, they show their mind to stand alone, they would be confident and they can really find out their inner talent. They believe that individuals are capable of generating completely original insights with a little attention and deference to past masters. So according to them, we don't need past masters because everyone has something that is his own, that you can't find in another person. So find out what is yours, which would be very rare, which won't be able to find in another person. That is the basic idea of Transcendentalism. It arose as a reaction to protest against the general state of intellectualism and spirituality at the time. Transcendentalism took inspiration from 5 basic ideas. First one, so remember 5 basic ideas. These are English and German Romanticism. Second one, the biblical criticism of John Gottfried Herder and Friedrich Schleiermacher. And a third one, the skepticism of David Hume. Fourth one, the transcendental philosophy of Immanuel Kant and German idealism. And the last one, Hindu text on a philosophy of the mind and spirituality, especially the texts of the Upanishads. So remember, Transcendentalism takes its inspiration from 5 basic ideas: English and German Romanticism, the biblical criticism of Johann Gottfried Herder and Friedrich Schleiermacher, and then the skepticism of David Hume, then the transcendental philosophy of Immanuel Kant and German idealism, then a Hindu text on philosophy of the mind and spirituality, especially the text of the Upanishads. And a transcendentalism is closely related to Unitarianism, which is a religious movement in Boston in the early 19th century. So it is closely related to, or we can say it is parallel to Unitarianism. Unitarianism is a non-Trinitarian Christian theological movement that believes that the God is in Christianity is one singular person. Most other branches of Christianity define God as one being in 3 persons, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. So, for Unitarians, there is only one God. But for other Christians, God, the idea of God is divided into 3 personas. They are the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. But Unitarianism believes only in one God. So unitas is the word from which the word Unitarianism comes. So unitas means unity or oneness. That comes from unus. Unus means one. So Unitarianism means a belief in one God. Transcendentalism developed as an organic consequence of the Unitarian emphasis on free conscience and the value of intellectual reason. So they believe in free conscience and intellectual reason. Everyone has a conscience and a reason, the power to think. Transcendentalists are strong believers in the power of the individual. It is primarily concerned with personal freedom. They took a progressive stance on women's rights, abolition, reform, and education. They criticized the government, organized religion, laws, social institutions, and a creeping industrialization. They created an American state of mind in which imagination was better than reason, creativity was better than theory, and action was better than contemplation. They had a faith that all would be well because humans could transcend the limits and reach astonishing heights. Their beliefs are closely linked with those of the Romantics. Transcendentalists believe that society and its institutions, particularly organized religion and political parties, corrupt the purity of the individual. Transcendentalists have a deep gratitude and appreciation for nature. Transcendentalism became a coherent movement and a sacred organization with the founding of the Transcendental Club in Cambridge, Massachusetts in 1836. So the Transcendental Club was founded in 1836 in Cambridge, in Massachusetts. Now let's analyze the members of Transcendental Club. George Putnam, Ralph Waldo Emerson, Frederick Henry Hatch, Amos Brownson Alcott, Orestes Brownson, Theodore Parker, Henry David Thoreau, William Henry Channing, James Freeman Clarke, Christopher Pierce Cranch, Converse Francis, Sylvester Judd, John Swery, Sophia Ripley, Margaret Fuller, Elizabeth Peabody, Ellen Sturgis Hooper, Caroline Sturgis Tapan. So once more, remember the names of the members of Transcendental Club: George Putnam, Ralph Waldo Emerson, Frederick Henry Hatch, Amos Brownson Alcott, Orestes Brownson, Theodore Parker, Henry David Thoreau, William Henry Channing, James Freeman Clarke, Christopher Pierce Cranch, Converse Francis, Sylvester Judd, John Swery, Sophia Ripley, Margaret Fuller, Elizabeth Peabody, Ellen Sturgis Hooper, Caroline Sturgis Tapan. And the writers belonging to the Transcendental Club, they frequently published their works in the journal The Dial. This is a very, very important point. Remember, the journal of the Transcendental Writers was The Dial. And a second wave of Transcendentalists later in the 19th century emerged. And these include Monica Conway, Octavius Brooks of Frothingham, Samuel Longfellow, and Franklin Benjamin Sanborn. The second generation of Transcendental writers include Monica Conway, Octavius Brooks Frothingham, Samuel Longfellow, and Franklin Benjamin Sanborn. Transcendentalism influenced the growing movement of mental sciences of the mid-19th century, which would later become known as the New Thought movement. So Transcendentalism influenced the mental sciences movement, later came to be known as New Thought movement. Nathaniel Hawthorne wrote a novel, that is The Blithedale Romance, in 1852, satirizing the Transcendentalism movement. So remember, Nathaniel Hawthorne's work, The Blithedale Romance, is a work which criticizes Transcendentalist writers, or the idea of Transcendentalism itself. And another person who criticized Transcendentalism was Edgar Allan Poe, the American poet Edgar Allan Poe, who wrote a short story, that is, Never Bet the Devil Your Head. Never Bet the Devil Your Head is a short story through which the famous American poet Edgar Allan Poe criticizes the ideas of Transcendentalism, in which he embodied elements of deep dislike for Transcendentalism. So that's all about Transcendentalism. In the next class, we will discuss one of the poems written by Philip Larkin, that is, This Be the Verse. This Be the Verse.